Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Tatsat. Om Ajnanatimrantasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhushali Swayam Rupakadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Santa Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kachana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Dashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tunami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Aschatadhi Sacharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody. Hare Krishna. Everybody. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hari Hari
Hare
Hari Rama
Hare
Rama Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hari Hari
Hare Rama,
Hari
Rama
Rama Rama Rama Hare.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everybody. So, which canto and which chapter are we in?
Third chapter.
Canto 2.3,
Chapter
2 and 3.
Canto 2 and 3.
Chapter 3, verse 12 till verse 12 we have read, Mataji, last class.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So, we should start off from technically verse 12, but Pran Chaitanya Prabhu told me
11, I think.
verse 11. So, I'll start from there. So, what is this chapter called?
Third chapter.
Pure devotional service.
Yes. And extension of this chapter? It's called the change in the heart, right? So typically, I think most of us would have experienced this, wherein the first 12 verses, what did Pran Chaitanya, what was covered in the first 12 verses of this chapter?
The
Comparison.
what comparison?
Bhakti Yoga.
Excellent. Comparison between?
Virat Rupa worship and Bhakti Yoga. That is basically Paramatma.
Yeah, that is one. And some more?
The powers of the cities, the
Excellent.
devatas.
Powers of the devatas, deities, the powers of all the devatas. And typically, what is the difference between clubbing both your points? The devata worship, that is the demigod worship, and the pure devotional service worship. The whole of this canto starts off with how Virat Rupa makes a lot of difference. And I'm not talking about this chapter, but the canto. And how Brahma started with Virat Rupa, which made us dwindle, right? Oh, okay, if it is Virat Rupa, and if Sukadev Goswami is talking about Virat Rupa, in which case then should we worship Virat Rupa? This is a doubt which I think many of us had in our minds. So is it so? Should we start with the Virat Rupa?
It's fine.
Yes, Mother. You can.
Hare Krishna.
It is an authorized method, so those who find it difficult to concentrate on the personal form of the Lord, they're authorized to do so.
So basically, so is Sukadev Goswami recommending Virat Rupa for all of us?
No. No.
No. He's
Okay.
just suggesting an alternative for those who are handicapped that way.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mary. So basically, for a set of devotees, I would use the word transcendentalists because we saw in the first canto, second chapter, right? Vadanti tat tattva viddas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sapyate. So the Brahman realization is the first level of realization, which is the next level
Paramatma.
and the highest level.
Bhagavan.
Right. So this does not mean that we have to climb the ladder. We always believe in lift, and this is what Srila Prabhupada always says. Let's take the lift and go up. So we will follow the lift and go up, which is directly Bhakti. Whether we are neophyte, whether we are middle level or advanced level, we will follow this path. Now, what is it? Why is it mentioned like this? Is the audience which Sukadev Goswami was addressing had a mixed audience. So obviously, when Parikshit Maharaj was asking, people were giving different treatments. Now, is it right, wrong? Is what Sukadev Goswami is trying to tell? It is not wrong, but it is going to be very difficult, right? So that is what even in Bhagavad Gita he says, right? Paunam janmanam ante jnanavam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabhana. Such a soul is very rare, right? So it is. So we are all very rare. So irrespective of whether, last week I think some of us were confused. Where are we? Whether we are neophytes, pre-neophytes, and all of us, most of us get this doubt. Doesn't matter. End of the day, we are in the right track, right? So in school, when our parents get us in it, what do they see? They see whether we are in good school, whether we are in a good. They don't know whether we will become doctors, engineers, whether we speak well or not. But they have a feeling that we are in right track. We are, under good support, and therefore we'll be taken care well. So that is exactly the first step which they are talking about, and that's the step we are in, and that's the road we are, right? So now the difference between so they talk about that, and even the yogis. So obviously the Brahman realization are for jnanis, and as Usha Mataji said, people who find it difficult. Why they find it difficult? Why they find it so difficult to worship the personal feature of the Lord?
Because of the senses.
Because of the
Senses. Because senses guide you out.
can you elaborate a
See,
little bit?
yeah. See, senses basically what they do is they are mislead you. Mislead you
Mislead.
because of the Maya aspect. Yeah. So they think that you are the supreme, which is the major problem.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhu. You hit the nail. So the senses, which actually can mislead us thinking I'm great, right? So I had been to Delhi in a place called Dwarka in Delhi, not Dwarka. There we were staying in a PG. My daughter was staying there. So when I was there, the first thing is there was one of our neighbors. So actually, Prashad, Satvik Prashad, everything is organized by Dwarka Temple, right? They are managing these hostels, girls' hostels. Now there was a lady who was staying there, and she was telling, there was a picture of some lady. I don't know who she is. She was telling that you worship, not worship her, you sit before her, and she was preaching something. While I understood one line, what she said is, she said that, the moment you see Kundali Shakti goes up, each of us have our own Kundali Shakti. Ours, it belongs to us. So the point which I was talking about is, us, ours, mine is highlighted so much, right? So the feeling of me, mine is so much in the minds of these philosophers and all of that, that they are not, the jnanis, that they are not able to give up the thought of me, and therefore they believe in merging with Brahmajyoti. I am God. You can see the God within me. Right. So that kind of the thing. And I am right now polluted, but once become pure, I become equal to God and I will go join. Yes, we will become equal to God qualitatively, possibly, but definitely not quantitatively, because we are new and He's good. Now, Paramatma feature, when we are worshipping, we talk about the neophytes, right? So the neophytes focus on the Vinatrupa, and the advanced devotees I'm talking about in the among the yogi category, focus on the Paramatma feature, right, of the Lord. And obviously the Omkara and all of that comes from there. If the shift becomes Lord Krishna, like what is wrong in focusing? No, nothing wrong. If it continues to be Paramatma, if it continues to be Omkara, if it continues to be Hare Krishna mantra, great. But unfortunately, they use it as a starter. And finally, in the journey, they let go. So this is the major problem, right? So that is where they are. The story, the Bhagavad Gita sloka says, right? Avajananti mamuda manushintaram ashrita parabham ajananto amamuta maheshwaram. So therefore, they are all fools who actually deride me as human, because they cannot accept that Lord has a form, and that form is Sachidananda Vigraha. It is different from our form. We always think the Lord has a body. I have a body, so both are contaminated. So therefore, let me not. And also, Neti, I don't want the body, I want to escape. The runaway, right? So sannyasi also, if you notice in a very casual tone, we'll see in office when people chat, they will tell, I have a very tough marriage life. I'm just waiting that I will run away from there. I want to become a sannyasi. So that is not sannyasi. Actually, brahmachari, grahastha, sannyasi means everything should be total to Krishna. So now here we are talking about why now we move 2 levels. Now we are talking about personal form. Demigod worshippers also believe in personal form, but the fact is their knowledge, they do not know what level is that is demigod. So initially, when we are in LKG, it's okay. Mommy tells, okay, I'll give you a chocolate, go to school. But do we tell the same thing in 10th standard? Do we bribe the child with the chocolate? Maybe we will tell after you finish your 10th or 12th, we'll buy you something. We'll still bribe. But then we don't bribe for going to college or going to school, do we? Do we?
No,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Maybe higher rewards.
Higher rewards. So, as Usha Mataji says, the rewards become higher, but there will be a stage where a child goes to a PG. We probably will not even, we will oversee, but probably not get too much into micromanagement, not even macromanage. Right? So, that is what we are talking about with Krishna. Demigod worship is also good to start off because there, at least there is a lot of piousness, right? So, there are two kinds of materialists. One set of materialists who strongly believe me, I am this, I am a self-made man. I believe in everything. This is my me. That belief, right? There are also pious materialists who actually believe that there is a superior power, but they do not understand Krishna is the one. So they go to demigods and they keep telling, I will give you one coconut, give me a promotion. Okay, small time need. Like how Shamatari says, need becomes higher. I will give you 108 coconuts. You please give me one multi-story building. Then I will give you commission. Give me business, I'll give you 1%. All of that comes at a higher level, right? So this is typically the motive of demigod, pious materialist. So this is the broad category of what we've been speaking. And now whatever we saw is largely about the demigods with that is with pure devotional service, right? So typically what happens when you we don't have to know, but just broadly, what happens when you worship Brahma? Who worships Brahma? Brahman effulgence. What happens in Brahma when they focus on Brahma? Destination.
Sahajya Mukti.
Sorry?
Sahajya Mukti.
Sahajya. So perfect.
Virat
Perfect. Sahajya Mukti. Go and merge into the thing. And Daksha, Prajapati Daksha, from the name.
Progeny.
Progeny, very Haribol, progeny. Agni Dev.
If you want to win.
Sage.
There is
Sage.
power, right? To get power and all that you get. And, typically Adityas. Adityas and all for going to heaven. Same way, if you need a lot of money, Vasus. Of course, for us, we don't know. If we need a lot of money, we will still worship Lakshmi. So that apart. So I'm saying, so these are things which people do. And demigod worships is not just one. Lot of things. Like if you worship the Gandharva, you get beauty, right? And you worship Varuna, you get good bad balance and all that. Now, if you worship Lord Shiva, you have vast learning. And with Uma, that is Parvati, you get very good marital relationships, right? And Ashwini Kumaras, if you worship, long lifespan, breathing, right? So your pranayama and all of that is a sub of that Ashwini Kumaras. And if you worship Bhuma Devi, that is earth, you get a very well built body and all that. So typically, these are the things which we are selling. Now, in the 10th verse, I think Prabhu took this, and this is a memorizing verse. Soon we will have our, our orals as well. Next week, we will, some of them, I think half of them only wrote the exam this week. We will have a re-exam next Sunday at 9 o'clock. Request all of them to come over, and all those who are not have completed the chapter and have a shortfall, we will take up that exam post our class next week. So all those who have appeared, please come by 9 o'clock, and all chapters, whatever is outstanding, please come by 9 o'clock the coming Sunday. So now the 10th verse talk about Akama Sarvakamo Mokshakama Udaradi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajata Purusham Param. Very clear. What does it mean? What does it mean?
Basically means, whatever be the desire, whether we have no desire, we have some desires, or we want liberation, in either case, we should worship the Supreme Personality of
Very good.
Godhead.
Very nice. Karma. So even if I don't have karma, or if I have liberation as my karma, or even if I have all things, sarva karma, all kind of desires, what's one point of contact? Who's that one point of contact?
The Supreme Lord.
Who's that?
Param Supreme Person.
Lord Krishna.
Krishna. I'm waiting for the name, Krishna. Because once I tell Supreme Lord, we will have our own name. So Supreme Lord Krishna. I'm sure none of us in this class will have the doubt. But since we are going live on YouTube, not sure who will hear. So that's why I just wanted to highlight Krishna, Krishna everywhere. Sir, and why are you the one who's talking about Krishna? So in recently, all of us, right, all Vaishyas very strongly believe in the Vishnu Tattvas. The only difference in the Sri Parampara, they believe in Narayani, that is Narayana and Lakshmi, also because of the fact that they have not heard of Radharani. Srimad Bhagavatam does not talk about Radharani. Why? Directly does not talk.
Because Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Because Shukadev Goswami would become ecstatic when he spoke Radharani's name, and then he would go into Samadhi, and then Parikshit Maharaj had only like 7 days to hear Bhagavatam. So that was the reason.
Excellent. So once he goes, 7 days he goes, then who will take care of Parikshit Maharaj? That is the kind of the feeling or compassion a devotee has, that he controls his feelings, controls his emotions for the benefit of the other devotee, which we would have noticed in Prabhupada as well. You see, normally Srila Prabhupada, most of the time I would use the word downgrade himself from Uttamadhikari to Madhyamadhikari for preaching. Also, many times when he becomes emotional, he'll try and control so that it does not disturb the class. That such is the level and thought of such exalted. Now we are from Gaudiya Vaishya. So when we are from that parampara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly talks about 5 points, which becomes very, very salient future, right? He talks very clearly. Now whatever we were speaking. Supreme Personality of Godhead is none other than Krishna. Highlighted point 1. The second point is which Krishna? There are 3 Krishnas. There are Dwaraka Krishna. Now you will tell Mataji, only 3 Vishnus are there. So who are the 3 Krishnas now?
We speak about Vrindavan Krishna.
Haribol.
Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka.
Excellent. Of that, whom are we following?
Vrindavan.
Vrindavan.
Haribol, Vrindavan Krishna. So Supreme Person is Krishna. We will be following specifically Vrindavan Krishna. Our destination is
Goloka.
Goloka
Vrindavan.
Haribol,
Vrindavan.
Goloka Vrindavan. Very nice. So Supreme Person is Krishna. We will go to Goloka Vrindavan and we'll follow Vrindavan Krishna. Therefore, along with that, our worshipping combination deities are Krishna and
Radharani.
Radha.
Haribol, Krishna and Radharani. And the final point is we will be following one ultimate scripture. What is that?
Srimad
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam. Because now you will tell Mataji, Bhagavad Gita also. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is also there. But Bhagavad Gita is a preaching of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about Lord and the devotees. So it talks about Bhakta, Bhagavan and Bhakti. Only 3 things. The only 3 things which are there. That is devotee, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Krishna, and the process. So just these 3 things are 3 B's of Srimad Bhagavatam which are covered. So these are the 5 points which Lord Chaitanya very clearly highlights and tells this as our mantra, right? As for reaching the supreme abode. So this is exactly what we will follow. Now we will tell S. Mataji, but then whatever Krishna is telling, that 18th chapter, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ikshami Ma Sucha. Lovely verse. I will memorize and tell, but then I can't follow. Because I am so much in love with so many things. And I very strongly believe I am not doing anything for myself. I'm doing it for my family. This is a common statement we all used to say, still say, and have heard a lot, right? So we brag ourselves that I do for my daughter, I do for my husband, I do for my father, I do for my mother, and the greatest sacrifice. I won't do for anybody's child, right? I will do only for my child, which means I'm an extended self, right? So these are all altruistic activities which are more extended self, which is what Prabhupada says. And all of this actually means I and me. So since that I and me are there, which is why we are not able to follow the 18th chapter, 66th verse, which is the last instruction given by Krishna. And we follow in the second chapter, what do we follow? How Grasta Ashram is. So we saw that, right? Grahamedis, we saw in the second canto. You should not be a Grahamedi, be a Grasta and actually do Karmaneva Adigare se ma paleshu kadashana ma karma palahe tu ma te karmani so karmani. Very nice. I'll follow, but how can I do that? I'm still not able to do that. I do something, I need results, which is why I go and put coconut, which is why I do Visarjan of Ganesha, all of that. I don't mind going and worshipping Kala's God, Goddess Kali. I will walk in fire. All these are Tamsika, right? The Puranas talk about Satvika Purana, Rajasiya Purana, and Tamsika. So Rajasika is like typically worship of all your very handsome and cute looking deities like your Lord Ganesha and all of them. And Tamsika are that Mahakali and all that Rudra, the scary look. So this is the overall thing. All of them are Vaishnavites, and therefore, remember, everybody's aim is for us to reach Krishna. Now, if you have any wish, okay, simple wish. I want to watch movie. I want ice cream. I want to build a house. Ask Krishna. He will take care. Why you have to go and ask Mama, Mommy, and all? Papa is there, na? Our Supreme Lord, Supreme Father is Krishna. So in our house also, sometimes we go and ask our uncle. It gets done easily. But daddy thinks twice, mommy thinks thrice, right? Because it's for our good. So if we ask Krishna, Krishna will give us what we want and he will not give us what is going to be bad. Just like how a mom will not give us a cigarette or a drug, Krishna will also not. But if it is good for you, he will still give. Like Dhruva went and he wanted a kingdom bigger than
Brahma.
Yes, bigger than Brahma's planet, right? Brahmaloka. He actually gave Dhruvaloka, right? Dhruvaloka, which is the largest pole star, which is the only eternal planet in the material world, is given by him. So that is the point which is taken there. So devotees will, we have to take care of that. So this is the story behind that, right? So devotee, so the most important thing is that whatever is there, you just please go and worship Krishna. Now, in the 11th and 12th verse, they're talking about devotee association alone gives bhakti. Even a jnani, right? They say no, tinge of bhakta should come. Only then you will get into bhakti. But so there is always a saying, right? Jnani's chance of becoming a bhakta is more, or demigod worshipper's chance is more. Let's see verse 11 and 12. Did we read the verse 11 or we have to start from 12? Usha Mataji, you can share.
Oh no, we did not read Mataji, only up to 10 actually.
That's what Prabhu told. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji, verse 11.
I think screen has to be shared.
Whoever wants to read can please raise your hand. Hare Krishna, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's 11.
Yeah, please read, Mataji. I think she lost connection.
Is the screen visible, Mataji?
Yeah, screen is visible. She was trying to read and she lost connection. Mahesh Prabhu, please start.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Etavaneva yajtam.
Etavaneva yajtam.
Iha nishreyasodayah.
इह निःश्रेयशोदयः
Bhagavate achalo bhavo.
भगवती अचलो भावो
Jad Bhagavata Sangatah.
यद्भागवतसंगतः
Translation purport by Swami Savacharnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: all the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. only by the association of the pure devotee of the Lord. Hari Bol. Should I read the purport also, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Purport. All living entities in different statuses of life within the material creation, beginning from the first demigod, Brahma, down to the small ant, are conditioned under the law of material nature, all the external energy of the Supreme Lord. The living entity in his pure state is conscious of the fact that he is a part and parcel of the Lord. But when he is thrown into the material world on account of his desire to lord it over material energy, he becomes conditioned by the three modes of material nature and thus struggles for existence for the highest benefit. This struggle for existence is something like following the will o' the wisp under the spell of the material enjoyment. All plans for material enjoyment, either by worship of different demigods, as described in the previous verses of this chapter, or by modernized advancement of scientific knowledge without the help of God or demigod, are illusory only. For despite all such plans for happiness, the conditioned living being within the compass of material creation can never solve the problems of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. The history of the universe is full of such plan makers, and many kings and emperors come and go, leaving a plan making story only. But the prime problems of life remain unsolved despite all endeavors by such plan makers. Actually, human life is meant for making a solution to the problems of life. One can never solve such problems by satisfying the different demigods, by different modes of worship, or by the so called scientific advancement in knowledge without the help of God or the demigods. Apart from the gross materialists who care very little either for God or for the demigods, the Vedas recommend worship of different demigods for different benefits. And so the demigods are neither false nor imaginary. The demigods are as factual as we are, but they are much more powerful due to their being engaged in the direct service of the Lord, in managing different departments in the universal government. The Bhagavad Gita affirms this, and the different planets of the demigods are mentioned there, including the one of the supreme demigod like Lord Brahma. The gross materialists do not believe in the existence of God or the demigods, nor do they believe that different planets are dominated by different demigods. They are creating a great commotion about reaching the closest celestial body, Chandraloka, or the moon. But even after much mechanical research, they have only very scanty information of this moon. And in spite of much false advertisement for selling land on the moon, the puffed up scientists or gross materialists cannot live there, and what to speak of reaching the other planets, which they are unable even to count. However, the followers of the Vedas have a different method of acquiring knowledge. They accept the statements of the Vedic literature as authority in toto, as we have already discussed in Canto 1, and therefore they have full and reasonable knowledge of God and demigods, and of their different residential planets situated within the compass of the material world and beyond the limit of the material sky. The most authentic Vedic literature accepted by the great Indian acharyas like Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, and Chaitanya, and studied by all important personalities of the world, is the Bhagavad Gita, in which the worship of the demigods and their respective residential planets are mentioned. The Bhagavad Gita 9.25 affirms, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Petrim Yanti Petravrata Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Madhyagya Yagyapimam. The worshippers of the demigods reach the respective planets of the demigods, and the worshippers of the forefathers reach the planets of the forefathers. The gross materialist remains in the different material planets, but the devotees of the Lord reach the kingdom of God. We also have information from the Bhagavad Gita that all the planets within the material world, including Brahmaloka, are but temporarily situated, and after a fixed period, they are all annihilated. Therefore, the demigods and their followers are all annihilated at the period of devastation. But one who reaches the kingdom of God gets a permanent share in eternal life. That is the verdict of Vedic literature. The worshippers of demigods have one facility more than the unbelievers due to their being convinced of the Vedic version. by which they can get information of the benefit of worshipping the Supreme God in the association of the devotees of the Lord. The gross materialist, however, without any faith in the Vedic version, remains eternally in darkness, driven by a false conviction on the basis of imperfect experimental knowledge or the so-called material science, which can never reach into the realm of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, unless the gross materialists or the worshippers of the temporary demigods come in contact with a transcendentalist like the pure devotees of the Lord, their attempts are simply a waste of energy. Only by the grace of the divine personalities, the pure devotees of the Lord, can one achieve pure devotion, which is the highest perfection of human life. Only a pure devotee of the Lord can show one the right way of progressive life. Otherwise, both the materialistic way of life without any information of God or the demigods, and the life engaged in the worship of demigods in pursuit of temporary material enjoyments are different phases of phantasmagoria. They are nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita also, but the Bhagavad Gita can be understood in the association of pure devotees only and not by the interpretations of the politicians or dry philosophical speculators. Hari Om.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nicely read. And apologies, I will want everybody to read the puppet because I have not read it myself. So I'm actually hearing and reading and explaining because I didn't have too much time on this. This was sort of a last moment. And I never told you that I'll be taking the last one. I should have told you at the beginning. I think Pran Chaitanya Prabhu has got a sudden engagement. So he said he might be here for about 5-10 minutes, but he's not come. So today till about 12 o'clock, I will continue. So I want all of you all to read the puppet because only then I'll be able to explain it. So that is why, excuse me. And now talking about various demigod worship, like for example, let's take us, right? We also would have been engaged in other demigods as well. Now you may come and tell, no, we were always believers of Vishnu, like we were also Vaishnavites. But I never knew there were 3 Vishnus. How many of you all agree to this? Even if I believed in Vishnu, I never knew there were 3 Vishnus. You all knew already?
No.
Hare Krishna.
We
Right?
didn't know that.
So we thought Vishnu is the highest, but we never knew that this were there. In spite of that, we used to play a lot of devatas. In fact, Ganesha used to be prayed in a different way. For Ganesha, instead of putting patta, we used to put namam, right? The tilak, the straight tilak like that. And we used to call, we used to also worship. And Ganesha was called, I don't know what you tell in English, but then we used to put tilak and worship, right? As a Vaishnavite. No doubt Ganesha is a Vaishnavite. All of them are pure Vaishnavas, but I'm just saying the practice, right? So this is what this was the case. This used to be the case for all of us. Now, all of us actually are here, right, from Brahma till that is what Abrahma Bhuvala Loka Punar Avatinoja Amupetya Puta Punarjanma. So basically from Brahma till the end, that is what is given. So everybody, right from Brahma Lok to that small Indra tree, that is that small ant, which you know that level are all bound by the material energy. Now, what body we will get depends on the modes which are dominating. All of us are part and parcels of Lord. There is no doubt on that. Irrespective of whoever are the part and parcels of God, we still are struggling here because we have come here to enjoy, which is what I was telling, the philosophy of I, me, extended I. Further extension of I is my country, my nation. So end of the day, whatever we call it as altruism is also an expansion of myself, right? And therefore we are in Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Now, I think Rohini Mataji, I'm not sure who asked this question, but Pran Chaitanya Prabhu said that specifically he will address birth, death, old age, and disease. I think only 2, I don't know what was the question. What he told is he said he'll come here and address that. Obviously, birth and death is there old age, and is there disease, right? So this is the question for which he said he will answer. To my extent, what I got clarification earlier, this was my doubt in the beginning, in one of my initial classes, because I did a presentation on demigod worship. I don't have the presentation now. Otherwise, I would have taken 15 minutes and rushed you all through it because this was one of my initial presentation where, I made pictures of Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha, all of them, and tried putting scriptural references and all. Not a great presentation, but that time it seemed great for me because I did a lot of homework to get there. And now it works easier for us because we've been reading, we've been hearing and all that. But that time, when we are at the beginning stage, it is difficult. So the understanding is birth and death is there for everyone. That's true. Disease is also there, but then it is very rare. Which is why, if you notice, not only Ashwini Kumara, Dhanvantara, right, is a demigod for disease. So he is present there for that particular purpose. Same way, they also have children, but it's not like us, they have a specific time. And so this is what I have heard at that time, because this was one of the clarification I had with Namnishta Prabhu, and this is what he told. So it's a rare thing. And even with PKD Mataji, she told this long back. I'm talking about, I think, 3 years ago. But anyway, Pran Chaitanya Prabhu has done a lot of homework on that. So he said he will come and talk. So we'll hear from him clearly as to what specifically he's got to say. Now, we are talking about us. We keep making plans, this plan, that plan, and we constantly go on. Now, our problems never get solved because we are always trying material solution for problem. We always feel we are human bodies. True, we are called as human beings, but we are actually spiritual being in human body, right? Because technically the soul is spiritual, but the body is material. So we can't be happy because there is a fitment issue. Just like the fish, you tell I will take the fish out, I will give velvet bed, I will put AC for the fish will struggle because the nature of the fish is naturally, it is supposed to be in water. So the soul naturally has to be in Chitta Sattva platform. Unfortunately, because of our desires, which are by our subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, we are stuck with all these desires and we are struggling in the various bodies which are nowhere related to us. It is connected to us. It is connected to us in order to satisfy our gross needs, but it is not directly related to the soul at all. So Bhagavad Gita very clearly says that there are different planets and different destinations for each of them. And that is what Prabhu was reading, right? Yanti Deva Yata Devan, Pritri Yanti Pritrivata, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Mat Yajino Pimam. But the fact is, the same thing is also told by Brahma in Brahma Samhita. He is very clearly talking about what is he talking about? Where is Goloka Vrindavan? Every single scripture highlights the location. GPS, without GPS, they've spotted. Right? So everywhere they are talking about Haridam is the topmost Dham. So everywhere, Goloka Vrindavan, Haridam, whichever way you can call Devi Dham, Mahesha Dham, Haridam. So that is what is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. And this is also told by, in the conversation between Ganesha and Parasaram, not Parasaram, what's his name? Parashuram, very clearly that the Vaikunta has multiple planets and Goloka Vrindavan is the topmost planet, which is 50 crore yojanas above the lowest planet of Vrindavan, of Vaikunta. So we can imagine the height and the intensity of that. And it also shows how difficult it is. However, we will go by practicing bhakti for Krishna, Radharani, and that is how we will go and reach our eternal destination. Because service is the root. How can we get that? Through only pure devotees. So irrespective of whichever demigods we keep worshipping, we will only land here. So that is the point. So if we need to go to Goloka Vrindavan, then either by lot of pious activities, Krishna shows mercy, or the devotee shows mercy, which is what we call it as Ajnana Sukriti, we come across a devotee. I've also seen this because I always from childhood wanted to read Bhagavad Gita. One of the client meetings, the client said he's late, and I still remember this was like 10 years back. In Presidency Club, I was having a chance and I read that Bhagavad Gita. I took it home and I read, I understood nothing. I thought I understood everything, but after closing, I understood nothing. Then after Namnishta Prabhu started this during COVID time, the 18 days class, that is when I understood something at least in the 18 days class, which is why very important thing which we need to do is that we need to go through not just the scriptures, but also through authorized people to make us understand that. So this is the most important point, irrespective of whether it's Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it has to be understood to that way. Also, one more reason is Vyasa and our Kulai, Ganesha had a conversation. He said, I wanted someone to write Mahabharatam and Srimad Bhagavatam, and obviously Ganesha came forward to write. Both of them had a deal. Lord Ganesha had a deal. He said that you should say non-stop. If you stop, I will get up and go. So Vyasa says, okay, you should write non-stop. And you should write only after understanding it. Which is why when we read the shloka, Ete Chamsa Kala Puksha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indra Rivyakulam Loke Mritonante Yuge Yuge, very clearly it says, Ete Chamsa Kala Puksha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He is the Swayam Bhagavan. Right? Indra Vakulam Loka means all the Indra means those who are demons, who are anti-Indra, who means anti-demigods, who are anti-Krishna. Because demigods are for Krishna. So anti-demigods means anti-Krishna. So he comes to destroy them. Not just now, of all the things in the past, of all the incarnations and avatar, and the ones which are in the future, which are going to come. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Is so clearly established. And Ganesha writes with his tusk because he cannot stop, which is why he breaks his tusk. And that is also the reason why Vyasa makes it difficult. Because if he makes it easy, it will become very fast for Krishna, for Pulya, that is Ganesha to write. So he makes it a little tough. And that is why Veda is called Guyam. Now, what is Guyam about this is very difficult to understand on our own, but very easy to understand through spiritual masters. So that is something which we have to follow. So with this, let's go to the next book. Any doubts so far? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody there?
Yes, Mataji. No doubt, Mataji.
Thank you so much. I get a little worried if there's too much silence. Yes.
No, Mataji, it is. You are explaining it so well. Becomes, I think, the key point we understood is, I think, in association of devotees only we understand. I think maybe I had a similar sharing, Mataji. I think since childhood we have been told by parents to read Bhagavad Gita, and we have been reading and kept reading till I think last few years, but not understood much except for few things like karmanyavadhikarasya yada yada dharmasya kind of shlokas, But only when we first time, especially when I first read it in Bhakti Shastri, in association of our facilitator here, Sri Narayan Prabhu in Singapore. So only after that I realized actually. And the very first question in the first class he asked me, have you read Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita? I said, what is Chatushloki? Though we have been reading since childhood, but I was not aware what is Chatushloki. What are the 4 important verses that Lord Krishna wants us to know and the devotees wants us to know. So maybe I think in association of devotees only, understanding of these scriptures, the deeper meaning, the real meaning, how we can apply it in our day-to-day life, I think becomes manifest. Otherwise, I think it remains very hidden. Guyam, as you mentioned. Thank you so much, Babaji. That's
so
quick
much.
sharing wanted to.
Very nice sharing. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yes, Shyam Gopika Mataji, 1 to 12
Hare
verse.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Text 12. Jnanam yat aprtinivritta gunormichakram
ज्ञानं यत् अप्रतिवृता गुणोऽमिचक्रम्
atma prasada utayatra guneshvasangah
आत्मप्रसाद उत यत्र
गुणेश्वसङ्गः
कैवल्य समतपथस्त्वत भक्ति योगः
कैवल्यसमतपथः स्वभक्तियोगः
को निर्वृतो हरिकथा सुरतं रतिं न कुर्यात्
को निवृत्तो हरिकथासु रतिं न कुर्यात्.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of the material moods. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment. And being transcendental, it is approved by the authorities. Who could fail to be attracted? Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita 10.9, the characteristics of pure devotees are wonderful. The complete functional activities of a pure devotee are always engaged in the service of the Lord. And thus, the pure devotees exchange feelings of ecstasy between themselves and relish transcendental bliss. This transcendental bliss is experienced even in the stage of devotional practice, sadhana avastha, if properly undertaken under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And in the mature stage, The developed transcendental feeling culminates in the realization of a particular relationship with the Lord by which a living entity is originally constituted, up to the relationship of conjugal love with the Lord, which is estimated to be the highest transcendental bliss. Thus, Bhakti Yoga, being the only means of God realization, is called Kaivalya. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the Vedic version, Eko Narayano Devaha, Paravaranam, Parama Aste Kaivalya Samnitaha. In this connection, and establishes that Narayana, the personality of Godhead, is known as Kaivalya, and the means which enables one to approach the Lord is called Kaivalya Pantha, or the only means of attainment of Godhead. This Kaivalya Pantha begins from Shravana, or hearing those topics that relate to the personality of Godhead, and the natural consequence of hearing such Harikatha is attainment of transcendental knowledge, which causes detachment from all mundane topics, for which a devotee has no taste at all. For a devotee, all mundane activities, social and political, become unattractive. And in the mature state, such a devotee becomes uninterested even in his own body. And what to speak of bodily relatives? In such a state of affairs, one is not agitated by the waves of material modes. There are different modes of material nature, and all mundane functions in which a common man is very much interested or in which he takes part becomes unattractive for the devotee. This state of affairs is described herein as Pratinivritta Gunormi, and it is possible by Atma Prasada or complete self-satisfaction without any material connection. The first-class devotee of the Lord attains this stage by devotional service, but despite his loftiness for the Lord's satisfaction, he may play the voluntary part of a preacher of the Lord's glory and dovetail all into devotional service. Even mundane interest, just to give the neophytes a chance to transform mundane interest into transcendental bliss. Srila Rupa Goswami has described this action of a pure devotee as Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Even mundane activities dotted with service to the Lord are also calculated to be transcendental or approved Kaivalya affairs. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. So now the previous verse spoke about demigods, right? So that is why Brahma Samhita, it says, Golo Ganami Nijadami Talesha Tasya Devi Mahesha Haridami Shuteshu Teshu Te Prabhava Nichaya Vitashaina Govindamadi Purusham Kamam Bhajami. So very clear. So what happens? Brahma is the topmost among, the lords, right? Whomever we are talking about for the material affair. Now, Brahma Samhita, where Brahma writes very clearly says Devi Loka is here. And above that is Mahesha Loka, above that is Hari Loka, and very clearly it is speaking. So that shloka is addressed by Brahma, so that is the authorities who will stick to it. Now coming to the next shloka, and this is outside of Srimad Bhagavatam, for those who believe, okay, Srimad Bhagavatam not sufficient, for that we are talking about. Now coming to the next one, we are talking about the next category, that is the Jnanis, right? For them, what happens when it comes to Hari? This is the major issue we've been talking about, Brahma Jyoti. Though there are many shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna says, right, Brahmanoi Pratistaya Amritasya Tasya Chashvatasya Tadharmasya Sukase Kanti Kasya. Very clearly, Brahma Jyoti of mind is very clearly what is my effulgence. Krishna is saying. Whom is he telling? He is telling Arjuna, hey Arjuna, listen, you are talking about Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is nothing but my effulgence here. We will not. He is repeating again. 15th chapter, he is talking about 3 modes. He is telling, na yad bhashayate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gadvana nivartante tattamam paramam bhavan. So he is telling, whenever we pack, okay, right now we all have mobiles, so we use mobile torch. But still my mom, when she packs, she will tell, I will carry a small torch. Have you noticed? I think olden days when we were small, our parents, whenever, because current failures used to be very high, they used to carry small torch, yeah? Yes or no? No?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes,
same.
ma'am.
So when we are going to Goloka, very clearly we don't need to pack all that. We don't need mobile, we don't need torchlight, because the refulgence from Krishna is so powerful that The sun, moon, whatever is there present here are not required there. There he is very clearly saying, okay, Krishna telling we will not read because we will not read Bhagavad Gita. Even if we read, like how Mahesh Prabhu said, we will read on our own multiple times, but we will not follow it. So even Isha Upanishad, right? Why I am quoting Isha Upanishad? This Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and all, Sutta Sattva, very, very high level of understanding. Let's go to Isha Upanishad. Isha Upanishad talks very clearly about Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pilitam Muham Tashvan Pushanaha Brinyu. So it means what? Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pilitam Muham. Devotee is telling, please remove the Brahman effulgence to see your face. That means that Brahman effulgence is blocking. That's not the final destination. That is why he's telling Hiranmayena Patrasya Satyasya Pilitam Muham Tashvan Pushanaha Brinyu Satyadharmaya Drishtaye. Allow me to see your beautiful place. Get that Brahma Jyoti out. Is the preaching by a devotee. And if you remember, Pran Chaitanya Prabhu told, Isha Upanishad is not the highest of preachings. It's not only meant for pure devotee. It is meant for us also. That is why there you see devotee telling that, hey, Krishna, if I forget you, today I will do seva. Remember all my seva. Pure devotee doesn't even care to ask. He doesn't even care even if you're pushing him to hell. Which is why if you see the story of Gopi, when Krishna goes to Narada and when Narada goes to Krishna and asks who's a pure devotee, he says, ask gopis for I have a headache and if I need to get rid of my headache, I need dust from their lotus feet. Nobody will be willing to give, but gopis will say, I don't care. He says, eternity you will be in hell. They say, I don't care. I will be in hell for eternity, but I will go ahead with it. That is the bhava of the gopis, and that is exactly what we are following in Gaudiya Vaishnava. So that doesn't mean that we'll be thinking we are all gopis, but we are all aiming at that kind of love. And remember, we are not going to think that I want Krishna. I want Radharani. Because if you think I want only Radharani without Krishna, then the mentality is who wanted only Lakshmi and Radharani, a version of them or an avatar of them without Krishna.
Karmis.
Sorry, okay, Lakshmi.
For the material gain.
Yeah, but the extreme one is Ravana. Do you see? Ravana wanted only Sita. Sita Marma is none but Lakshmi, right? So he wanted Sita Ma without Ram. And same way, who wanted only Lord Ram? That is Krishna's version without Radharani.
Shurpanaka.
Arivol, Shurpanaka. Right? So we should always, that is why Sri Krishna Chaitanya came to spread the love. Now you'll be telling, okay, Mataji, only Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. No, even in Sri Parampara, they worship Narayana and Lakshmi together. The only thing is they feel since Radharani's name is not there, we will go by Lakshmi Narayana and we will worship. Still it isn't there. Same way Rama and Sita. Hanuman, if you want, we all are proud of Hanuman, so it's a worship of two. And obviously, for those who feel, okay, this Baba, then what about Balram Krishna? Yes, Balram Krishna, they are also part of Vrindavan. So they are always, Krishna is never alone. He is always with someone, either with a cow, and this is something which Ramanishta Prabhu told me, either with a cow or something. So people, when they buy Krishna alone, very rarely, at least he will have his Venu with him. Right? That is the beauty of Krishna. So Krishna always comes. Now we saw all these verses which are supporting Jnanis. Now always a leader has to say, because I just told Brahma is the leader, authority for all of us. Brahma certifies. Hey, in Brahma Samhita, I have therefore told Goloka Namni Nijadami Talesha Tasha Devi Mahisha. Okay. Now Jnanis and all don't even believe in any of the scriptures. What are you telling? Okay, time. Do Jnanis believe in Shankaracharya? He is right. There is no conflict on that. What does Shankaracharya tell? Shankaracharya clearly Eko Devo Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Mantras. So everything is telling Eko Gitam. So that means one book is from that Eko Gitam Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Deva Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani Sarvasi Karmani Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Very clear. Eke Gitam Devaki Putra Gitam. That means there's only one Gita. Bhagavad Gita. No, Mataji. There are so many other Gitas. I saw Ganesha Gita, I saw Shiva Gita. True. But Shankaracharya is telling Eke Gita means that's the ultimate. Just like there is only one book. If the teacher tells you have to study for 12, it doesn't mean there are no other books. It means that's the ultimate book, right? So Shankaracharya is telling that Eke Gitam, Devaki Putra Gitam. That means only one book written by, you will tell, no, which Gita? Devaki's son wrote that Gita, right? Devo. So again and again they are highlighting, right? Only one Deva, one person, one boy who is again child of that. Eke mantras tasya namani ani. Only one mantra, which is Maha Mantra. Tasya namani, I mean name, the Nama Mantra. And karmani ekam tasya devasya seva. There is no other karma more than seva of the Lord. This is not told by me. This is told by Shankaracharya, who is the head of? Who's the head of whom?
Mayavadis.
Mayavad school.
Exactly. See, all I'm telling you is you have to at least believe your own leader, right? You can't believe us, no problem, but at least believe your own leader. So they have to believe their own leader, who is Shankaracharya. So he clearly says, so he accepted Krishna as a supreme. There is no conflict. But the fact is, they were people take things on, what should I say, as per their convenience. So that's a problem. So when you follow things as per the rule, when you follow things as per preaching, there is no confusion. But when you don't follow that and when you have your own concoctions, that is the issue. Even when your leader says this, you don't want to follow. It is because of the fact that we don't want to accept anyone as the leader for the sake of genuine. We are just accepting with duplicity. He is my leader because I want someone as a leader. Otherwise, your own leader is trying to tell something, boss, what more you need beyond that. This is the ultimate statement which all of us will have. So this is something which is a part of Gita Mahatmyam, right? Gita Mahatmyam has 7 verses, all written by Shankaracharya. And in that, the last verse is this. In spite of that, people have contradictory feeling. And obviously, we are Yukta Vairagyam. So the difference between two Vairagyams, which is there in Nectar of Devotion, Falgu Vairagyam and Yukta Vairagyam. Falgu means, Falgu is a name of a river, which is looking deep, but it's very shallow. So there was a Mayavati who told him, oh my God, I could not sleep. I was wondering what happened. I just woke up and saw there was a coin under my head. Now Prabhupada has so much of crores of money under his head, but he has very calm and peaceful sleep. Why? Because very clearly, coin, he relates it as Lakshmi, right? Lakshmi, not in isolation, but in connection with Krishna. Therefore, he does not have a problem at all. We have a problem because we have a problem with everything in life. We as in not even we Mayavadis feel that the coin is disturbing because they see coin as Maya. Whereas actually they see Krishna himself is subject to Maya, which cannot be the case. So the beautiful question, once there was a visitor to our house, there was a Hindu, Muslim, Christian. It happened to be us, right? Among family friends. So that time a Christian was saying, we believe that Satan is as powerful as Lord. That time this Muslim friend of ours asked, if Satan is also as powerful as Lord, then how, then who will save us? Which is a very valid point. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, very much.
See, ultimately, who will we pray? So it is fair to practice according to that version. I would say what's wrong in practicing following Satan also, because that is also equally powerful. Okay, my thought may be negative, but the fact is that's my savior. But Krishna very clearly says, where does he say, where does he say that Maya is my energy?
7.30.
Shloka Mataji.
Yeah.
Maya Duratteya.
Devi Esha Guna.
Devi
Yeah.
Esha
Complete.
Mama Maya Duratteya. Maam ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite.
Very nice. So very clearly he says, boss, Ma, very clearly, Devi Esha Gunamai. So this energy of mine is none other than me. So my energy. So you can take shelter of me, nothing Gita will do, Maya will do. So very clearly he is trying to justify and tell us that. So therefore, very clearly, Krishna is the powerful person. There is no conflict. Brahma Jyoti is his energy, and Radharani is his Antaranga Shakti. And that's clearly what we are talking about. Yukta Vairagya. So everything we see in connection with Krishna. Today, what you're doing is what? You're seeing laptop. Laptop is technology. How? Yukta Vairagya. Prabhupada, someone had gifted him a very big car, and Prabhupada was using, and some of them said, Prabhupada, you're using such a big car, what will people say? He says, what will they say? How does it matter whether I use car or flight? Everything is given by Krishna. Therefore, I will use. Right? That's the spirit with which he was preaching. So the spirit is, it doesn't matter what you have. what you're going to do, but for what purpose you're using is what matters. Currently, all of you all are using a laptop, mobile, whatever you're using, is technology. If this technology is not there, then maximum you'll have a book and sit at home. And I learned Bhagavad Gita during COVID time. So I would have never had a chance to read Bhagavad Gita if there was no online class. Therefore, we will follow the Yukta Vairagyam of seeing everything is about Krishna, everywhere there is Krishna, and therefore both of them, whether it is Bhakta, to become a Bhakta, whether it is a Jnani or a Karmi, needs association with devotee. For that, you need a lot of mercy. So overall essence which we have seen so far is that Sukadev Goswami clearly establishes supremacy of Bhakti over here. The first chapter talks about Virat Rupa, right? Second chapter, basically 2.5 chapters, we're talking about Ashtanga Yoga. And here also half the chapter literally is talking about demigod worship. But here onwards, right, clearly he's already started establishing in 2.3.10 onwards. And now Saunika Rishi gets inspired and Sutta Goswami is going to talk about what. And that's what we are going to see. See, what are the further questions did Parikshit ask is going to come up in the 13th verse. So from 13 to 25, Saunaka Rishi inspires Sutta Goswami to speak. Now Sutta is going to talk. And now for Sutta, who's Sutta Goswami?
Disciple of Shukdev Goswami.
Yes, Sukadev Goswami is disciple, also son of
Romharshana.
Yes, so when Roma Harsha was actually killed by
Balaramji,
how?
with a blade of grass. And
That time, all the Brahmanas come and cry. They tell that Romansa Rishi is a very powerful, very knowledgeable Rishi. What will happen? Balaram immediately shifts, tells that Sutta will become spiritually elevated. So it is not just the first session he had with Sukadev Goswami and got elevated. He was already elevated. He had all knowledge of Vedas. He had everything imbibed in him by Balaram, which is why every time the Bala is not just a physical strength, but it is a spiritual strength. And Namanishra Prabhu used to yell when you see TV serials, only because of the fact Baladev is always shown as a dumb person, which is wrong. Baladev is the most intelligent person. Because of Baladev only we are all here. If I am teaching, it is a mercy of Baladev. If we all are all listening, it is because Balram has blessed, telling that you have to go and teach. And for you to go and teach, only then it will get into your head. I will send our 26, 27 people to come here and listen. Otherwise, you won't learn. So both are the mercy of Balaram. So Balaram is such a strong, it's very important that Satchit Ananda we are talking about, and we also talk about Satchit Ananda. Ananda is Radha Rani. Sat and Chit potency is from Balaram. Everything which Krishna is wearing, right from his earring till the bed, is Balaram. The spiritual world is Balaram. The material world, things are created by Balaram. So every single thing, which is why we have to follow Yukta Vairagya, and he is the Adi Guru, and we follow him. So that's the most important thing. Let me just take a detour and tell you a nice thing which I experienced recently. If it's okay with you, just 2 minutes. I was telling I had been to Delhi, and after being to Delhi, from Delhi, Madura and Madura and Vrindavan is pretty close. So I wanted to do that. So I was breaking my head, and I'm not a sole traveler. So we three, me, my daughter, and my mom were planning to go, but because of some new college issues, my daughter was not able to travel. So my mom stayed back because she was not well. So I thought, and my friend was so nice sitting in Rajasthan. She was coordinating every single thing, right from booking ticket, room, everything for me over there. And I landed in Mathura. After landing, so it was in the morning, and straight away I wanted to go to Janmabhoomi. Vrindavan would be later. So when I went to Janmabhoomi this time, this was 2 days prior to Radhashtami. Radhashtami was Sunday, Friday was this day, and I was in a very dumbest feeling that Vrindavan could be crowded, but Mathura would be less crowded because Radhashtami is largely celebrated in that part, which is not true, which is celebrated everywhere, but I'm just talking about my perception. So I landed in Vrindavan, in Mathura, and I entered the Janmabhoomi. So Janmabhoomi is a place where I can't take a single camera, nothing. In fact, basically, other than what I'm wearing, I cannot carry anything. So much of securities and all that. And I go up straight away. And I'm seeing very nicely the deities so well dressed. These are very high, very tall deities. For those who have gone to Madurai, you know, not as tall as Mayapur Krishna, but almost 3/4, almost that size. Very, very tall, very huge deities. So in the middle, there will be Radharani and Krishna. On the left altar, there will be Jagannath, Balabhadra, that is Balaram, Subhadra, and Krishna, that is Jagannath. Opposite to that, we can see the sthala of Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu standing in the, the Garuda Stamba. Stamba means pillar, right? He's putting his hand like this and seeing. Therefore, the path is very clear. There will be nothing kept there. On the right hand side, so Krishna is in the middle, left hand side is this. On the right hand side is basically Ram, Lakshman, and Sita, and Hanuman, of course. And Hanuman is seeing them. So here, Sri Krishna Chaitanya is seeing, the three deities, and here, Ram is being seen by Hanuman. So now I'm seeing, usually I will be allowed to go, and that day was a special event because Balaram Jayanti is celebrated. We celebrated it on the 9th, right? They were celebrating it on that particular day. That was 2 days prior to Radhashtami, was Balaram Jayanti in Mathura. Now, two things I was thinking, oh my God. See, very materialistic thought now. So first thing it comes to Achacho, so much crowd is there. How will we go? I did not know. See, the gratitude of, incidentally, Balaram Chaturthi, and there also is not coming. First thing the thought comes is Acho crowd, what happens? Then I'm seeing, oh, okay. They have closed it. So I went and asked the security, will they allow inside? He said, no, they don't allow. When can I go inside? He said, after 4 days, you come, we'll go. Where 4 days? And I have to leave the same day or max next day. They said, till Radhashtami, this is gone. Now one politician came. Now the politician comes there, and obviously you know how Indian politicians are powerful. And he comes and he says he was going. So I thought, okay, let me sneak inside along with the politician. So I also slightly go. I thought, along with the politician, if I sneak inside, they will not. The politician means he's not one person. You know how politicians always come with bags and baggages of people. So I thought one more person, I'll sneak in. The pujari says, Balaram, that is, because that was birthday of Balaram. And obviously when Balaram, Jagannath and Subhadra are there, they normally highlight Balaram's name and they call, there they use the word Balaram Dauji, right? Baladev, actually, Baladev Dauji. They said Baladev Dauji will not permit politician, whoever you are, you please go inside. I thought, okay, second scope also gone. Then I come there and I'm standing there. Then there was a bit of crowd, so they were giving flowers and all that. I'm very bad in crowd management. Therefore, I was standing there and staring. I was thinking, oh Krishna, one flower also I won't get. So far you are. I'm just thinking, and there was one pujari who came. And very beautifully he said, Man mein, I can't speak Hindi, but I'll just try what he said. He said, Man mein aap sochna hai, Krishna ko samjha hai, lekin how will I understand? You have to understand, you have to tell me that. So I'm like, okay. I'm standing. I just smiled. He said, 1 minute, Beti. And he went and gave the chandan he put on my forehead and gave one flower. He said, now you tell what you wanted, what you asked him. I said, this only I asked. He's telling, now you tell me. I said, this only. And he's like, looking, and I'm also stunned. Because why I'm telling you is, why I'm giving this talk is, neither am I a pure devotee, nor am I so connected. Imagine with so much of negativity in my mind, with crowd and all that, that 1 second of thinking also how Krishna is making it powerful. Then he said, okay, now you pray for something. Then I'm looking at Krishna and telling that, your brother, my brother, because I always have the habit of calling Balram as Balram Dahu. So I keep telling that Balram Dahu is not allowing me inside. So what will I tell? I will ask Dahu or I will ask you. I was just short of cribbing. I was not even cribbing. It was there in the mind, and I was just about to exit, and the head pujari came. Okay, and incidentally, he had seen me sometime back, maybe a year ago or something, when I had been much before. And he came and said, I'm waiting. Aaj Balram ka birthday. I said, yes. Baldev ka birthday. I said, yes. Baladev ka, Dahu ka birthday. He said, he said, can you see? I said, yeah. What else I'll tell you? He said, you want to go inside? You want to go? I said, ha. They will allow. He said, ha. Come inside. And he told that other pujari who was junior, he said, so beautifully he spoke, and I was so, we use the word I. I first time learned how he said. He never said, I want her to go inside. He never said she wanted to go inside. You know what he said? He said, Baladev ka, he wants to see her. So please allow her inside so that he can see her. So that time only I understood why our mentality is this and their mentality is that. Even to send the person, I want her to see, how we tell, right? We tell that I want her to go there. Or she wants to go there. Nothing. He says, Baladev. He said, yeah, I'm looking, I'm staring. I said, thank you. I told it. He said, like, Baladev ka birthday. I said, Baladev, mera Dau. I said, Dau mat. Other Pujari said, Dau mat bolo, Dau ji bolo. They use the word ji in South. Unfortunately, we don't use that respect form. We always tell you, tum only, no, aap at all. At least for the deities. I said, okay. I was so stunned. Why I was stunned is, just imagine, and why I'm sharing this is, I'm a very, very average, below average devotee, and I'm not telling to brag myself down or to be humble. I don't have humbleness at all in me. I'm very straight. Even when I talk to Pran Chaitanya Prabhu, I tell very clearly, Prabhu, I'm good in telling stories because I believe that. I don't tell by God's mercy. I'm very clear. Of course, by Krishna's mercy. What I'm good at, I tell I'm good at. What I'm not good at, for example, singing, I don't. That is why you will never see me chanting. I always will look forward for Usha Mataji or Mahesh Prabhu or Danishi ma'am or Lalita Mataji to go ahead and start singing. Sorry, I could not call the rest of the names. So I've just pulled in the names which were reflecting on top. So this is what happened. So why I'm telling you is, look at the thought of Krishna and Balaram especially is so powerful that even a slightest thought of Krishna, he will come and put them together. Every single thing. And after that, I went to Vrindavan, and one more very strange thing happened. The next day morning, I could not take, obviously, 6 o'clock in the morning. No, I had the Mangalarti, and after that, I took that session. I usually take Tamil session 6 to 6:30, and I went. So what happened incidentally is, that session at 6:30, when I went back, I was able to go inside. In Vrindavan, in that crowd, I knew, oh, I'm going to get massacred. Imagine the next day was Radhashtami. And by hook or fluke, I'm getting a position right in front before Krishna Balaram. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is my session time would have got over. Let me log in. And I'm just logging into the ID, and class was there. I think it would have been around 6:45, 7. I don't remember the time exactly. And I was expecting Danish ma'am then, but I think she was traveling. So there was another Prabhu who was taking class. So immediately I'm telling Prabhu, wait, to spotlight, because I could not talk. I'm just before the DTs, and my camera, the phone is inside the DT. I'm just stretching it inside. Right? Why I'm telling is, phone is Yukta, and because it's Zoom and because it's Bhagavatam class and I'm inside, and we are talking in Tamil. Okay, so they don't even understand the Tamil language over there in Vrindavan. But the Pujari noticed, they never saw anything. So many devotees in the morning got the live darshan of Krishna Balaram just a day before Radhashtami. And after that, I could move them and show them. I could not move anywhere further. I was directly there. And I was only requesting, please don't open your mouth and make any noise, because our camera is already inside the altar. And I would say my camera is very blessed. My phone is very blessed because it had a chance to walk into the altar, which probably I would, and probably most of us would have not had a chance. And I don't know whether I will ever have a chance to enter into the altar of Vrindavan. But why I'm saying is, this Yukta Vairagya is so important, because if we are thinking as Falgu Vairagya, oh, camera contaminated, it is plastic, as many people tell, whatever, plastic or metal, this is contaminated, it should not go, then neither those people would have got darshan, nor I would have had a chance of at least stretching my hand in there and could see Krishna Balaram at so much proximity, which I've never seen ever. So I don't know what I have to thank. So one Janmabhoomi, one clear darshan on the birthday for that day, and here a clear darshan right before, all because of the fact that there are devotee association, which is what I'm trying to tell. None of this would have happened without a devotee association. So I'm very, very indebted. And even today, I was messaging about a message, Pran Chaitanya Prabhu. I've been traveling. I'm very tired. I'm going to keep my video off, right? So I told Pran Chaitanya Prabhu, I will take the exam slowly. And Pran Prabhu told immediately at 9 o'clock, he said, okay, no problem. And he told, Mataji, can you take class? I said, what, Prabhu? Can you take class at 10 o'clock? I said, okay, Prabhu. And many times my teacher also will tell, why don't you tell no? But the confidence with which I accept the class is not because I trust me. I know this is a team where I know, right? And worst case, even if I can't preach anything, Like Mahesh Prabhu asked, no, should I read the whole purport? Yes, Prabhu, you have to read. We will at least do the reading because this is a chance I get to connect to the devotees like you all, which will only help my purification, and jointly we all can go to Goloka Vrindavan. So there is a lot of inner motive, though not materialists, but still I told no, akama, kama, kama, okay. So everywhere your final destination should be Goloka Vrindavan, as Sri Krishna Chaitanya told, and we will all have our journey together. Sorry for a detour of the conversation, but I thought I should share, and I thought I will use this opportunity to share it with you. Thanks, and we'll go to the next verse. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. All of you all are there. Anybody slept off? Active, no?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Prabhu Mataji.
Thanks for sharing, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, you can unmute and read.
Hare Krishna. Shaunaka Uvacha.
Aunaka Vacha.
Vacha.
Iti abhivyavritam raja.
Iti
Iti abhivyavritam raja.
Nishamya Bharatarshavaha.
Nishamya Bharatarshava.
Bharatarshvaya.
Kim anyat prishtavan bhuyo.
Manya
Anyat
Prishtavan
Prishtavan Bhuyo.
Vaibhav Kim Rishim Kavim.
Vayyasakim Rishim
Sakim Rishim
Kavim.
Kavim.
Translation. Shaunaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaja Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said? Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities, and some of the prominent features of those qualities are as follows. He is kind, peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna, without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Out of these 26 prominent features of a devotee, as described by Krishnadasa Kaviraja in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification of being poetic is especially mentioned herein in relation to Sukadeva Goswami. The presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam by his recitation is the highest poetic contribution. He was a self-realized learned sage. In other words, he was a poet amongst the sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So basically, not only here they are talking about qualities, but even in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita highlights 20 qualities, right? Saucham, Ajam, everything. So what you should have, one should be peaceful, truthful. Truthful doesn't mean on the face you go and tell truth. Wherever a truth is required, it should be said in an amicable manner. And when I remember truth, I remember many people, in the name of truth, go and splash wherever it is relevant. A child comes and tells, I got 80%, and then tell, wow, congratulations. Oh, you got 80% only, that child got 99%. That is also true, but is not required nor relevant. Right? Place, circumstance, we should speak accordingly. Right? And peaceful means you not only are talking about externally, but there should be no duplicity. Most of the time, the issue we are all facing is we talk something and we have something in the mind and we behave differently. So that is typically a thing. Non-possessive. Possessive is a very, very considered to be a great quality in materialism. I am extremely possessive about my husband and I'm extremely possessive about my wife. Possessiveness, if you actually dig, the inner meaning of possessive is either you're suspicious or jealous. You try and mix one. Either you're suspicious about your spouse when the person moves with another person, or you're jealous that the other person is so good that they will overtake. This is the meaning which I've always understood from that word, but I'm not digging more into it. But that non-possessiveness not only applies to a person, but also to things. People go in so much of depth with materialistic things that there are people who still, even with their own washrooms, they become so possessive. They tell, this is my washroom. Why do you use? I don't want anyone going near my washroom. This is my glass. This is my plate. I will keep it separately. We used to earlier keep that separately, no doubt. My dad used to tell this. My dad is a doctor and he used to say that such things were kept separately for people who were deceased those days, because the hygiene factor, the cleaning mechanism were not that powerful. Max, they will keep it in sunlight, which was the most powerful hygiene factor. But anybody who were suffering from tuberculosis or these kind of contagious diseases were given a separate plate and a separate mug or tumbler, whatever you call it, everything. But today, I don't know, we are also suffering, but with material contamination, that today everybody takes it as a pride, telling that I have my own separate stuff. Nobody even touches my stuff. Yes, there are certain things called private, like your towel or your soap for cleanliness. But every single thing cannot be private. That is what we should learn out of association, because we are not associating ourselves within the family, which hardly comprises of 2, 3, maximum 4 people. We have a problem in trying to be compatible with anybody outside. So where can we have devotee association when we have a challenge in house? I am not trying to tell that the house should be smooth, only then devotee association will work. I am not supporting that. I am telling that the house could be still horrible, still you can have a great devotee association. But the fact is, from our side, we should magnanimously forgive people, or at least forget, if not forgive, and move on. Right? Surrendering to Krishna is the highlight. And without hankering, when you're talking about hankering, is what we are talking about in the 14th chapter. When we read the qualities of people, we see goodness is always dominated by knowledge and happiness. They are very knowledgeable. They are very happy. At the same time, they have the ahankar telling that I am very knowledgeable. Therefore, goodness, they are happy, no doubt, but they are at a saturated point. They are still not the final point. But whereas if you talk about Rajoguna, they are talking about Sangha, which is dominating, and Trishta. So Sangha means association, and Trishta means unlimited desire, goes on like without hankering. If we cut that, we will not be reborn at all. Hankering is the one which makes us come back again and again to this material world. Simple living, high thinking. This is something not only Prabhupada is telling. I think today after Prabhupada, every meeting talks about this. Simple living, high thinking. If you have simple food, your thinking will become high, which is exactly what many people talk about simple living. Anybody when I ask who are all simple, in my other class, they will all raise their hand. And the first thing they'll tell is, ma'am, you know, Mataji, I have only 20 saris. I just have one own house. I'm just very happy. Satisfied living is not necessarily simple living. Satisfied living means that you are in mode of goodness, no doubt. Simple living means, my first teacher told me, it is just one hut, one cow, that's it. That is only simple living, where you have food, clothing, shelter, not clothing, shelter. I won't rate myself as simple living at all. But many of us who rate ourselves as simple living should understand that none of us are simple living. We are all definitely in our own frame of mind. We are classified as simple living because we are comparing ourselves with somebody. We will tell she has 200 chappal. I have only 20 chappal. I am so simple. We need only one chappal because we have only one pair of. Maximum, we need only 2 or 3 outputs. But are we doing that? Definitely no. So our living is not simple. But at least let's make our thinking high. Right? And fixed means Vivasaya ka buddhir ekeha kuru nandana. Ekeha means only one focus. That is fixed. Self-control, if we can't control ourselves, where can we control someone? I can control my child. I just got so angry that I went and showed. I still remember when I was working, somebody came and told me that my husband is incorrigible. I could not tolerate him. I gave it to my child. I said, if your husband is so bad, why you want to give it to your child? The point is, when you can't control yourself, why do you expect your child to become a very well-behaved child? Right? Next is a balanced eater. Very important. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam. So very, very important. Vacho vegam. Jigva vegam, mudra prashta vegam, vetan vegan viseshatira, sarvam apiman prativimshatim cha. So basically, vacho vegam, not only mouth means that prashadam. People hawk prasad. All of us, when we see, and I still remember my classic example, when I was trying to keep prasad, I'm not interested in food, but I am very fond of ghee. Extremely fond of ghee that I still remember when I went to Dharneshri ma'am's house, the first thing she took and kept is, here, ghee bottle. Right. And I'm not even worried to see what food is there. And before even serving Ram Mr. Prabhu, before giving the deity self-control, okay, I should take 1 cup of food. So look at the mind, how before the food is getting processed also, our mind is getting processed. And this applies to even the food. You're getting my point. The food also, when we take prasadam also, we can take any amount. Bhima is never considered as, he's considered as an voracious eater. He's not considered as a greedy eater. Why? Bhima is not considered as a greedy eater. He eats a lot. But why? Hare Krishna. Please, all of you all talk, no unmute. Because every time you all don't talk, I get
Maybe
a
he's maybe he's eating the prasadam only.
but I told no Prabhu, even if you're eating prasadam, if you take too much, it defeats the purpose, which is what
Yeah, but
led to instruction first.
he
His
needs
body
it.
requires
The body needs it.
Yes.
Excellent. All of them eat prasad only, but the body requirement is more. But here, when they are talking about balanced eater, it means that if 3 idlis are sufficient for me, I should take 3 idlis. Whereas some lady who is my maid may be working 100 houses, or let's say 5 houses, the 3 idli will not be sufficient for her. She might need to have 10 idli. Right. But if I am eating 10 idli, then that is imbalance. Right. So Bhima had a very heavy body. For his body proposition, obviously he was like Hercules, right? He wanted or it required him to have a large portion. But that doesn't mean that he was a greedy eater. He was not. That is why Bhima is considered for strength. He was not Gadot Gacha. Gadot Gacha is the one who was greedy, keeps on eating, right? So there was a difference on that. And very well mannered. If you take, give me an example of someone who's extremely well mannered, even in a very bad situation.
Prabhupada, people
Sorry?
like Namnishta Prabhu, people like Pran Chaitanya Prabhu. I mean, those
Very
are the
nice.
examples we see in this class typically.
That's very nice. But from historically, from Srimad Bhagavad,
Krishna himself, Mataji.
of course, Krishna himself. That's a very nice example. Krishna himself, how many insults he has got from Duryodhana. That was a beautiful example. As Prabhu is telling, I'm opening my eye. Yeah. So yeah,
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj, Haribol. If we were in the role of Parikshit Maharaj, first thing we'd have told is bring that fellow, hang him. Then only I'll think of whether before I am dead, I will destroy his dynasty. At least I should teach him a lesson, or at least I would expect him to apologize to me. Yes or no?
Kolevecha Sridhara.
Kulavecha Sridhar, excellent. People used to think he is mad and he's crying out of hunger, but he was crying out of love for Lord. What about this Prahlad? Prahlad never lost his manners. He never lost his sense of respect for his father, in spite of his father treating him so bad.
Yes.
Right? And second thing is ahankar. Pridelessness is not only applicable in the material world, but also in the spiritual world. Many times I notice the moment somebody gets any profile or position, they become very proud. I am not talking about you have to be a head or a leader. Even if it is a small profile, and if you tell them, can you do it? They become very powerful. They take power in their hand. And I have noticed personally a lot of people trying to keep telling everybody, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tharorapi Saishna, Amanina Madanena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Who wrote this verse? Where is this verse?
Shikshashtakam.
Shikshashtakam, third
Verse
verse.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya wrote only 8 verses in his life, and the third verse is this. So be humble like a grass and be strong as a tree. Humble like a grass, everybody comes humbly, but then they become like a tree among the devotees. That's not required. The most important thing is why can't someone be humble irrespective of whatever profile they get, whether it is a leader or a subordinate, even if it's a temporary takeover, even if it is a particular role, even if it's an acting manager. We are talking about I'm not talking about material world. Material world has pride, agree. But why pride in the spiritual world? Why people go into such thing that I am there, I want to do, and many of the devotees also come and complain. Mataji, when this person is not there, when the leader is not there, when you're not there, people become proud. They try to dominate. They want to do why we should dominate? Because that dominating rule is only with Krishna, and he himself doesn't dominate. If you see Krishna, have you ever seen Krishna dominating over Balaram? Have you seen Krishna dominating over Radharani? Because Radharani only is powerful there. She's called the queen. But why are we dominating? When the Lord whom we are following is not dominating, why are we dominating? That is a question which we have to ask. And second thing is be sympathetic, be friendly, be nice to people. It is very difficult, but still we should focus on these qualities. The most important qualities are highlighted, and faultlessness is also keeping ourselves away from fault finding. The first thing is, can we be without fault finding? No, we can't. But should we go on with the fault of a person lifelong? Okay, I've done a mistake. I have slipped one word. I'm not getting one. Like I can't remember. There's one word, and I'll tell you in a minute. In English, how many ever times I try, that word never comes to me. Right? And okay, fine. So what? That word doesn't come. Does it disqualify me from talking? And I have this larger problem in Tamil. So many times I will get confused between subtle body and gross body. And each time I keep asking, ma'am, what's the difference? What's not the difference? I know the difference, but I don't get the word. So many times I don't know. I don't get the word for crocodile and frog. I mean, in Tamil it sounds very similar. So I get so confused each time I ask. But what I'm trying to do is, does it mean that someone has to brand? How many times we should tell you, yeah? Okay, you have to tell me. I can't help it. It's just not sticking to me. No matter what, certain things don't stick to someone, right? Same way, sometimes people make mistake. We will talk about it. We will tell them on their face and let go. If we keep thinking of them and we always keep remembering, do we understand one thing? Our mind is only so much. Our heart is also so much. Everybody, I'm telling. I'm not talking about me. This is scientific rule. Any doctors here can vouch. This is the size of the heart. In this, Paramatma has to sit. Right? And the Atma also sitting. Of course, they may be very small, but still they are all sitting here. Now, if we keep these people who are not worthy of our life in our heart, where is this place? I am not telling they are worthless people, but according to us, if they are worthless, why do we keep them in our heart and mind? If we keep them, where is space for Krishna? If we think this, automatically all of this will go on. Talk it out, no problem. I'm not telling you have to tolerate. Talk to them, tell them, talk one time to your friend and let go. Why make circles of discussions and go on and on? The problem is when we go on and on, do we understand we are moving far away from Krishna? This is exactly what Pran Chaitanya Prabhu also was missing. This is going to deteriorate our bhakti. Do not let, and Prabhupada told one thing very beautifully, do not let, this was about a guy who was smoking cigarette. He was a sculpture. He was making sculpture of Krishna and he was smoking and he kept the cigarette piece there abroad. We metal, oh my God. Prabhupada never yelled, never screamed. He only said, please don't let that cigarette come between you and Krishna. And that moment that fellow threw that cigarette, he never brought it in. Now, why did he become a sculpture in spite of smoking cigarette? Is because in spite of not being able to give up cigarette for that moment, from there he's able to get rid of it, which shows devotee association, like Prabhupada. He could make hippies as happies. But here, I am telling that one person is coming between you and Krishna, and that person is not physical, is in our mind. Can we get that person? Can we get that action? Can we get that thought out of our head? This can be anyone. It can be our mother, it can be our father, it can be our brother, it can be our spouse, it can be our child, it could be our neighbor, it could be our enemy. Can we try that? Can we at least try? Because I'm also trying. It's not easy. But can we try? Because we all have to go to Golokana. I told joint journey. Because if one of you all are not doing the journey, rest of us are being held back. Hare Krishna. I want yes, no. Otherwise, I feel
Hare
yes.
Krishna. Yes, of course,
Thank you, bro.
Mataji.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so
That-
much.
We heard the same story recently, Mataji, that Prabhu was Shyam Sundar Prabhu, whom Prabhupada told to keep off the cigarette. I think he was making the sculpture of
Oh,
Jagannath ji,
absolutely. Oh,
and
okay.
he kept that cigarette on the Jagannath only. He was sculpting, that Jagannath, so he kept it on that. So our Devkinandan Prabhu told here recently the same story.
Oh, very nice.
He said
Haribol.
if Prabhupada had not been tolerant and he would have scolded him or whatever, Shyam Sundar Prabhu might not have been a great devotee now. Because of the tolerant attitude of Prabhupada, he was able to tell him very simply that this, I think, maybe please try to reduce it or please try to minimize. That's how I think he was able to slowly stop the smoking, and he made very, very big contributions. I don't know what is he now. Is he called some Maharaj or something? I don't know, but I think his name was Shyam Sundar, was shared recently by Devkinandan Prabhu here.
That's really nice. Hare Krishna. So all about it. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing, and thanks for sharing the name. I did not bring up the name. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Next was Priyadarshini Mataji. I think you had your hand raised. If you're still there, you can read.
Yes,
Lalita,
I'm there.
yeah,
I'm
please
there.
go ahead and read it.
Yeah,
Hare
yeah.
Krishna.
I just tell my specs. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Etat Shruta Sadam Vidvan
Etachushoshataam vidvan
Sutano Arhasi Bhasitum
Sutano arasi bhashitum
Katha Hari Katho Darkaha
Katha hari katho darkaha
Satam Syu Sadasi Dhruvam.
Satam syuh sadasi dhruvam.
Translation. O learned Suta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Shall I continue, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Perfect. As we have already quoted above from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, even mundane things, if dovetailed in the service of the Lord Sri Krishna, are accepted as transcendental. For example, the epics or the histories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which are specifically recommended for the less intelligent classes, women, Shudras, and unworthy sons of the higher castes, are also accepted as Vedic literature because they are compiled in connection with the activities of the Lord. Mahabharata is accepted as the fifth division of the Vedas after its first four divisions, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva. The less intelligent do not accept Mahabharata as part of the Vedas, but great sages and authorities accept it as the fifth division of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is also part of the Mahabharata, and it is full of the Lord's instruction for the less intelligent class of men. Some less intelligent men say that Bhagavad Gita is not meant for householders, but such foolish men forget that Bhagavad Gita was explained to Arjuna, a grahastha, family man, and spoken by the Lord in his role as a grahastha. So Bhagavad Gita, although containing the high philosophy of the Vedic wisdom, is for the beginners in the transcendental science, and Srimad Bhagavatam is for graduates and postgraduates in the transcendental science. Therefore, literatures like Mahabharata, the Puranas, and similar other literatures, which are full of the pastimes of the Lord, are all transcendental literatures, and they should be discussed with full confidence in the society of great devotees. The difficulty is that such literatures, when discussed by professional men, appear to be mundane literature like histories or epics because there are so many historical facts and figures. It is said here, therefore, that such literatures should be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Unless they are discussed by devotees, such literatures cannot be relished by the higher class of men. So the conclusion is that the Lord is not impersonal in the ultimate issue. He is the supreme person, and he has his different activities. He is a leader of all living entities, and he descends at his will and by his personal energy to reclaim the fallen souls. Thus, he plays exactly like the social, political, or religious leaders. Because such roles ultimately culminate in the discussion of topics of the Lord. All such preliminary topics are also transcendental. That is the way of spiritualizing the civic activities of human society. Men have inclinations for studying history and many other mundane literatures, stories, fiction, dramas, magazines, newspapers, etc. So, let them be dovetailed with the transcendental service of the Lord, and all of them will turn to the topics relished by all devotees. The propaganda that Lord is impersonal, that he has no activity, and that he is a dumb stone without any name and form has encouraged people to become godless, faithless demons. And the more they deviate from the transcendental activities of the Lord, the more they become accustomed to mundane activities that only clear their path to hell instead of return them home back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam begins from the history of the Pandavas with necessary politics and social activities. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is said to be the Paramahamsa Samhita, or the Vedic literature meant for the topmost transcendentalist. And it describes Param Jnanam, the highest transcendental knowledge. Pure devotees of the Lord are all Paramahamsas, and they are like swans who know the art of sucking milk out of mixture of milk and water. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
So
Mataji.
very well read, very
Thank
nice.
you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Mahabharatam and Ramayana was written by whom? Who wrote Ramayana and Mahabharata?
Srila Vyasadeva.
Yes. So
Valmiki
Vedavyasa.
Vyasadeva.
Valmiki, yeah, Ramayana.
Valmiki Ramayana.
Yeah, Valmiki Ramayana, original version. Mahabharatam, Vedavyasa. So both are accepted as the fifth Veda. But unfortunately, many of them tell that no, it is not there. Bhagavad Gita, when we read this, we might feel funny, but I've also noticed in the first session, right, when I used to take level 1 class, a lot of devotees used to ask. They used to ask, there is objection if we keep Krishna in the house. I myself had an issue, right, in keeping Arjuna and Krishna in the house. So I used to hide it in my cupboard. I used to think that nobody saw it. And I still remember my daughter, when she was small, I think when she was probably 10 years or so, not small, 10, 12, 10 years, she brought it out and she kept it in the hall and she made one very strong statement. And that is when I noticed that children, she said that so many houses, they are not afraid of keeping all alcohol drinks outside in the hall. Why are you scared and keeping Krishna and Arjuna inside the cupboard? Bring it out. Let's see what happens. So that time I noticed why a 10-year child's braveness also I was not having, and I was such a coward. Because people, though we are all from Vaishnavite family, even then, many of them carry the myth. And that is what we used to tell. Myth though means what? Myth means that you cannot have this. This will cause ruin. You cannot have the symbol of horse. Horse means they will run away. Same way when I was preaching, also I had a big challenge wherein they told that you can't preach inside the house. You can preach in the road. And that time, I still can never forget. Naminishra Prabhu, I told Prabhu, situation is not good. Can I take it from outside? He said, you can take it from anywhere room. And I remember one day when I was preaching and in the road, there was a drainage, right? A sewage, not even a drainage going. And I saw the iron guy on the road, and this was not even in Chennai, this was in Coimbatore, comes running and he says, he said, Amma, you come, Amma means Mathaji, but that's how they address. You come and sit here. And he, in his quota, arranged for a stool, not stool with a stone or something. And he told, okay, you can take here. Why you want to take the class over there? So I was just thinking, look at the fellow who is an iron guy, who I don't even know whether he would have understood Bhagavad Gita or not. Right. And as he was signing, he was listening. How much he understood also, I don't know. But he had that natural culture to come and tell why you want to take that. Whatever you're teaching, come here and teach. Right. So that is the exalt. So many of them, we all come from the so-called Vaishnava family, but they say, "Arey, not here, you go outside." But somebody who is a guy who's literally in the road tries and says this. So can you see, this is exactly what you call this humble. We all think we are humble, we are very spiritual, we are advanced, but we are not able to accept something. Whereas somebody who's even worse than that, whom we think according to us, has more empathy over there. So Lord sees compassion. Krishna is very fond of three things. One is chanting, right? That is the first thing which we do. Second is compassion, right? And then the third one is the spiritual book, the Vedas, whatever is written, whoever follows it. Because all of us write it, right? So conduct which is mentioned in the Veda, the chanting and the compassion are three things which really Krishna is impressed with. So if anyone wants to move Krishna, that is trap Krishna or impress Krishna, whichever language you want to use. And many of them who feel that it is not natural, at least I feel I have to put efforts to impress Krishna. The best way to do is try and do that. It may not come naturally to us, but then at least let's focus that these are the things which Krishna likes and do. Many people also use the word, they don't use the word epic. They use the word, what do you call, fiction. They use the word, what is the other word they use? Mythology.
Mythology. Yeah.
These are the two words which mythology means. Mythology and fiction are more or less same, which means that it is created. But Vedas are apaurishya. They are not created. They are coming from the Lord. So is Mahabharatam, so is Bhagavatam, so is Bhagavad Gita. How can that be fiction? So many times without knowing, people use the word idol. People use the word mythology. We should at least, as devotees, trying to be devotees, future devotees, try and avoid these words and teach people. And Lord is never impersonal. If I tell because you people are not switching on the camera, you are not a human. Right. So I mean, that doesn't sound good, right? So now I can see Mangala Mataji, right? Sitting there smiling. So I will tell, okay, only here, Mangala Mataji, only I can see clearly video. Other people in this room are all not, are only energy. I can't classify like that. I can't tell Usha Mataji is a robot because only automatic sharing is happening. AI does automatic sharing. I can't do that because that will be very humiliating. So is our thoughts, so is our action. We cannot ban or brand anything in that fashion because everything. So how can we tell if we react from us, our father, if we go on, we will go and reach Brahma. And obviously, we know Brahma is whose son. Right? So obviously, our ultimate thing is Krishna, right? We will go and resign. So the most important thing which we need to understand is these are scriptures which are Vedas, which are as good as our mother telling us who father is. They are not stories, they are not dramas, they are not fictions. But however, all these are spoken in the story form only because people who are less intelligent can understand. But the so-called less intelligent people misunderstand. Many people also, when they get angry with the Lord, you know what they tell? You are God or whether you are stone. I think in typical drama, right? When I go walk, I don't watch movies and serials because I don't like. Not because I don't like, it's because I don't understand. And whoever watches also, I disturb. But when I walk around, I hear that. You're in Tamil, that dialogue is that me, Antavana Kalla. Danish, ma'am, what is that dialogue? Or Mataji, Mangala Mataji, then a Kalla Manna. If you can, something like that. It says that are you God or whether you're stone? Do you have moistness in your heart? I'm just transliterating, so I maybe they can explain better. So why just because someone listens to you, the person is God? So your
Mataji,
qualifications.
just can I add? Yeah. Yes, these are all. This is all Mahabharata, Ramayana. This is all actually classified as itihasa, basically
Excellent.
meaning history. Yeah.
True.
Puranam. Puranam means what? Puranam. It's coming from past.
History.
Stories of the past. You know? So you have the Vishnu Purana, we have Bhagavad Purana. So all these things are itihas. It's a part of the knowledge system actually. So in a way, we study about we study history in Indian schools, but then that is confined to a few dynasties here and there. But we don't go beyond that. So this is the I can say is the tragedy of Indian education system, that we don't really appreciate our forefathers. We just confine ourselves to few, what, Gandhi, Nehru, Akbar. More than that, what have we read? Nothing more. So there is something, yeah. So Itihara is what is Mahabharata and Purana. And then when you read them, you recognize the the language used, the feelings, the position. I mean, it gives so many things, the geography, the history, links history to the geography. So that is why Ramayana and Mahabharata are one of the most uh, not only well read, but then they give us it gives everything: spiritual, philosophical, geographical, historical, all facts. Is it, Mataji? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think it's a very, very, very important point
It's
which
not
we are.
myth. Definitely, these are not myth. There is so much of knowledge in it. And then the knowledge of the self is there, the knowledge of the Paramam is also there, and the knowledge of the surroundings is also there. All these things are mixed into one place.
Thanks, Prabhu. I think what Prabhu told is so important, and that's a very nice realization. even which came in me right now after Prabhu told, why is, when it is called Itihasas, why is it not a subject? I think Ramayanam and Mahabharatam at least is taught in the class. And I remember one of our friends, it seems in North, his grandmom went and fought the teacher. Why are you teaching Mahabharata at this age? Children are too small. You should not confuse them. It's so confusing. Everything is confusing. Even science is confusing. For me, geography was very confusing. But we were forced to learn. Just because Mahabharata is in school, why are there objections? Chandragupta Maurya, whom we read in history, is actually in Bhagavatam. Buddha, we have read, is in Bhagavatam. Jesus Christ is in Bhagavatam. When we read, we see wow. Ideally, from Bhagavatam, we should see wow, but we are seeing them because, as Prabhu told, we have kept that as a point. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji, I can't hear you. Voice is very feeble. So basically, that is the point. So these are Itihasas, these are Puranas, these are our treasure, and we should actually have the luxury to read them. We should enjoy them, relish them, and pass it to our next generation. Whether we take it with spiritual spirit or with a mundane spirit, but as Prabhu said, they are in the past and they are true. And to that extent, we should at least respect them and take it forward. So this is typically what we are talking about. And coming back to the point very clearly, all the learned people, that is Vidwan, who all of them are very eager, Shushrushadam. So of what? Of Harikatha. Why is Harikatha so good, so glorious? Because they are talking about Krishna. Right? And now 15th and 16th verse, Prabhu will take it next week. And here we will know the glories of Parikshit, of Sukadev Goswami also. And in 17th, we are going to see how time is very important and everybody has only 24 hours. And how can we use time to its best utility. 18th verse, we'll see do trees live or not. 19th verse, only animalistic men will glorify these animalistic pleasures and they will enjoy that. And typically, for limb by limb description of an animalistic person's coming. Initially, between 20 to 25, we're going to talk every limb, how it becomes a burden to the earth, how you will be like a dead man if you don't appreciate Harikatha. So we were talking about 26 qualities here and 20 qualities in Bhagavad Gita. And all these qualities are directly related to Harikatha. When I'm saying directly related to Harikatha, it means that these are qualities which are mentioned everywhere. And these are qualities which we can develop by just listening, by just Shravana. With Shravana, we'll be able to take it forward. And with this, I will complete the class for today. Thank you so much. Mancha Kalpatarvishya Kripa Sindhu Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vijay, Srila Prabhupada Vijay, Ramacharya Haridas Thakur Vijay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare. Thank you so much, Usha Mataji, for sharing, and thanks to all of them for listening patiently and for those who were victorially participating in chanting and Tulu. Hare Krishna, any doubts?
No.
Hare
We
Krishna,
can drop
Balaji.
off. We can drop off. Is here, isn't it, Mataji? We can drop off. Others, the meeting will continue because of the
Yeah, I'm
classes.
not ending the meeting. We'll just stop live. I'll just stop live. You have to, attendance link. Rohini Mataji, just 1 second, please wait. Rohini Mataji, can you please post the attendance link?
It's posted. It is posted.
Achha, you posted? Okay, no problem.
Posted,
Yeah, it's posted. Sure. Thank you so much, Kali. And I'll stop live and the rest of them can continue the exam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.